Roll call, please.
Sherry Archdale. Absent. Linda Bailey.
Here.
Michelle Franklin.
Here.
Rebecca Kern. Here. Julie True.
Here.
Judy Strong present. Charles Thomas.
Here. I standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any comments today on items presented? Hearing none. You don't have any policies?
Actually, I do have a little bit of updates on policy. I got a couple of policy questions here. We were given a packet of policies to update our books with. And this policy here, item 5.240. On the back of it is 6.60, so it was just copied wrong.
Okay,
So we just need it copied correctly. And I've also been doing some work on policies, trying to go through them, seeing how many's old, how many's outdated, all that stuff. I haven't finished my research on it, but from what I've gathered, we have approximately 192 policies, and 129 of those policies are from 2010 and older. So, I'm reading state press, and, hopefully we can get some of these totally updated. That's what I got for you.
Transportation.
At a future meeting, we're gonna have to talk about selling that old district truck. It's kind of a lawn ornament right now. And, we have some people interested in buying it that are car guys. And we have to get some kind of price on it. But we need seriously to look at, that economic time, but to look down at CMS at the state for purchasing a truck. Most of our employees use their own vehicles, which is kind, but probably not real smart if there was an accident. So we need to take a look at that. We'll also present information that we can discuss further regarding the leasing of bus 6 and 2. Those leases are up, so we'll present, hopefully at the board meeting, some figures on the amounts, what our plan looks like for next year. I'm reticent to commit until we see how it looks like with walkers during the winter months. And we're still looking into pay to ride. I think that's going to be a little bit of a bookkeeping problem and an also identifier problem. We'd have to come up with some kind of an ID card, something that let the bus driver know the right child was on the bus and where they were getting off, and it would have to be not an on and off the bus depending on the weather, but a commitment and one fee. Like you pay for a semester, you couldn't pay for a day at a time. So we need to look at the options. We've begun that research. And then look at what we're going to do for next year. As I said previously, this year was a trial year, so we can determine how it went with riders, and we have had very little backlash. The little ones, I think there'd be a bigger problem, even though, again, I reiterate, we're the only district I can find anywhere that transports within the 1.5 miles for any reason, any age. We got a lot going on building and grounds. If you see the gravel on the side of the garage, we're trying to expand that parking lot, 20 more spaces, move that extra bus, We've changed some parent pickup procedures because of security. We're heightening our security in this day and age. We want to make that a safer transition. So extend it out and move it back towards the fence, and then have the cars parked farther away from those doors. There have been days where cars have parked up to the doors. So I'll ask Julian, matter of fact, did she distribute to you the new parent pickup?
No.
It's working reasonably well. We have had some glitches. Today it went very well.
Extending the parking lot, is that for the staff or parents or?
This isn't popular, and since I'm on tape, I'll risk that for you, Mrs. Bailey.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis.
My pleasure has always been that the staff park farther away. That has not been the tradition in the district. I think that the parking lots close to the doors should be for parents and children, and staff should park away. That's been the case everywhere I've been, so it's going to be a cultural change. But those staff members that park farther away from the door, there's no reason to disrupt them. But any staff member parking in the proximity of the doorway and the drop-off and the pickup, I would like to see moved.
Where's this thing came from?
It's the same, O&M, and we're doing, what's the name of that stuff, Chuck?
Chip and tar,
Chip and tar rather than the white.
like the new, what they use on our streets. It makes a real good base.
Okay, it's really messy for a few days.
It is messy, but I also hit a pothole in the white gravelly stuff, and that's real messy too. It decorates your car real beautifully. So we're going to look at that chip and tar, and we've got the work slowly being done. The big rock is there, and it's the underlayment is the big rock by the garage. We did clean out that garage completely now, and everything is sorted and organized, I think in every square inch of the campus, except for our storage room at Homewood. We're sharing it with the sports equipment for the Safe School. Head Start Center. The Children's Center is complete. They'll have an open house, I'm sure, soon. Board members will have an opportunity, I hope, to have a preview. It is a beautiful facility. Plans are underway for inspections to take place, and that's what we're working on now. Bus drivers still do have access. It still remains our building. I think it was Mrs. Bailey that raised some questions about particulars. So what I did was include for your consideration a new lease agreement. Now, interestingly, we voted on a 5-year agreement. This lease agreement says 3, so I don't know if it's an error. Understanding either party can decide to shift and change here. But you had particular questions, and I think they are very much articulated in this 5-page contract. They'll speak about maintenance, particularly. There was questions from the board, and about food costs. They will reimburse food costs. You know, we're in charge of minimal maintenance and repair. Over a certain dollar amount, you'll read through here, they pick up the cost. But they, like the Safe School and the Alternative School, would like to purchase our service. And so that's a new territory for us. But I think you'll have some time here, and it spells out any concerns that you might have. So if you have any continued concern after reading this, email me and I'll see if I can't get those addressed. I have these at the attorney's presently, so we just make sure before these agreements are signed, and that was a question. We made the agreement with them. We didn't sign a lease agreement. And so this is the actual lease agreement. So spend some time looking at that. It's pretty standard, but I thought I needed it for you articulated much more clearly than the last one. Let's see. it for building grounds.
Finance.
Finance, I attended the joint review board for the Village of Creve Coeur's Main Street tax increment financing proposal for the redevelopment project. I was asked to serve as the chairperson of the joint review. I've given you more information than you will ever want about TIF. It's this large pile with a map. After investigating TIF and talking to other districts and attorneys, what I'm recommending to the board, have included in your packet, is that we enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the village to have us, as a school district, be reimbursed for 25% of the total tax increment revenue. I've referred this matter to the attorneys to see how to get on the agenda. They've asked for LaSalle's gymnasium for November 7th for the meeting, and since I'm the chairperson, I think I have an ability to put something on the agenda. Even though they were not forthcoming with that recommendation, other districts, Pekin included just recently, and East Peoria before them, have entered into an agreement to share in the TIF. So I want to see what the ramifications for the district are. You can see on the map that LaSalle is included. I was sorry to find out that they never asked. They could have included Homewood. And that we needed probably more than LaSalle at this point. But we'll see what consideration they'll give to having us share and what the benefits and challenges are to that agreement.
Speaking of TIF, did you find out where the money, does it have to be dispersed?
No, it does, and I thought it did not, no, it does not.
So
It's a one-time gift.
Is that because it was originally, LaSalle was originally in the TIF district? Is that why we got the refund?
No, we got the refund because, as I understand it, there was a surplus calculation error. And then, I think Phil Lanzini worked a lot on the project. And I'd have to go back through my notes, but it was he that called me and said that he thought he stumbled on something where the school district was in the position, and the village cooperated, and so did Pekin. Unlike District 150 right now, evidently had privilege to that refund, but it was given to Carver Center and some other places. I'm not sure why the district didn't argue that. So, one time was hoping not to have to spend it on balancing our budget, but if we can be one of the few districts that forwards a balanced budget, I think that's where we ought to go.
I have a suggestion. On these committees, could we add curriculum to the committees so that we can hear about these new programs and things that's going on, the new textbooks that you ordered? You know,
I think I think it's a point well taken that we review at the board meetings matters of curriculum. I think.
You know, new programs and like I
I think
mentioned,
we-
the ISAC that Mr. Jokish had said in his
We're gonna do those at the board meeting. Jeannie Williamson is presenting at October's board meeting.
But I mean, it seems like we're meeting and not getting to talk about educating the kids. And I thought if it was actually on here, maybe you could update us with the new things.
Well, I think the update should be done at a public board, the larger board meeting, because certainly the board doesn't decide curriculum.
No.
And so having us discuss it doesn't make much sense. But having it presented and having the board informed makes sense. So Jeannie Williamson is going to come and talk about what she is doing working with the ISAT students and special ed in October's meeting.
I would like to go into executive session if that's possible.
Can't do that. It's not, because it's not on our agenda.
Doesn't have to be.
That's not what I understand, and I wanna make
I
sure,
understand you need to be on there.
yeah. I'm not gonna violate the Open Meetings Act after we've just,
I'll check with the attorney, would you please?
we will.
Because as long as you take no action, a board is allowed to go into an executive session at any time.
well, one of the Open Meetings Act violations, correct me if I'm wrong, and had you perhaps written earlier, we might have been able to talk to the attorneys, because we've had them on the phone quite a bit this week.
And that's why I was wanting to go into executive session, because
I
I've
think,
heard police have been at the school and I haven't been updated, so I'd like to know.
well, you can
more.
give me a call. I think one of the FOIAs or the Open Meetings Act filed by past board members dealt specifically with executive session. So I would suggest to the board president that we err on the side of caution and make sure what the rules are before we change them.
What you want to know is what you want to know, according to what I've understood, but you can get that just from a phone call. So, okay, nothing more to go on. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second, roll call.
Linda Bailey,
Aye.
Michelle Franklin, Rebecca Kern, Julie True,
Aye.
Judy Strong, yes, Charles Thomas.
Meeting adjourned.
Mr. Thomas, you're not gonna let the audience speak on any,
We already
I
asked.
asked for it earlier.
no?
Yes, we did.
You did.
Yes, we did. We asked
I
for
said
it
comments on items.
on the agenda and nothing happened.
so low then.
It's
Right
probably
after
on
the
your
pledge.
tape.
Right after the pledge.
And still being.
At the end of the rally.
You can't record after the meeting's over.